So, Pat, first, I need to apologise, don't I? And I need to apologise to the whole LASA conference for not being there on Friday. I bodged up, I'm very sorry, but I am here to talk to you today about the school food plan, and it's great to be here in Hartley Primary School in what is one of the wonders of Universal Infant Free School Meals, a brand new, state-of-the-art, functional, beautiful primary school kitchen that every day feeds hundreds of kids. It's staggering, and I'm really looking forward to lunch in a few minutes. So let's get on with the interview.
Right, so Myles, what do you think the school food plan has achieved?
Well, as you know, Pat, I've had, I think, the best job in school food over the last 3 years, and that's because I've been able to work with you, with the board members of LASA, with all the members of LASA, with head teachers up and down the country, scientists, academics, Henry and John, Department for Education, Department for Health, DEFRA, government ministers, passionate parents, and of course meeting loads of pupils. And over the last 3 years, visiting hundreds of schools, speaking at hundreds of events, I think there's a simple answer to what the school food plan has achieved, and that is many hundreds of thousands more children are eating better food every single day. And that's happened because the whole school food sector, from the head teacher, who we know needs to lead the way, to the heroic school cook and the school catering teams, through to parents, pupils, gardeners, charities, and so on and so on, they've all come together. And they came together around this brand, this thing called the school food plan, which, when it was published in July 2013, was a document. All it was, in a way, was a book. You know, it was a thing which laid out 17 clear actions that collectively were designed to transform what children eat in school and how they learn about food.
Yes, Myles, but what still needs to be done?
What I think we've managed to achieve with the delivery of the 17 actions with the Universal Infant Free School Meals is to embed the magic ingredients of what makes a great school food culture. We know that thousands more head teachers understand the importance of embedding a good school food culture and how that relates to the overall ethos and culture of the school and how it relates to improved health and well-being, whether that's national concerns about obesity or sugar, or the need for our next generation to really understand about the importance of food for the good of their own diet, but also for the good of the environment and the planet. But 3 years on, we haven't done the job, have we? I mean, what we can do is look down the mountain, and we can see how far we have come. We can see that different players, different parts of those organisations that have come together that are the school food plan, they've played their part. Government's played their part. They've enacted amazing policy change. New food standards, cooking and compulsory food education back on the national curriculum. And then that magic moment when the coalition announced Universal Infant Free School Meals. And with all of the work that the school food plan, and by that I mean all of you, LASA, all the organisations coming together to provide practical resources for the head teacher, whether it's Ofsted guidance, whether it's new teacher training guidance, governors' checklists, the What Works Well website, whether it's the myriad of help and resources that brilliant caterers and school cooks and schools up and down the country have done, we are embedding and putting into place what needs to be done. But the school food plan talks about, Henry and John talked about the will and the skill. So the will is about making sure that every single leader in every single school understands why it matters, and then with the skill knows where to get help. And I think we still need to come together as a sector to ensure that we are going to support those head teachers.
Well, we know, Myles, that the back end of last year we had quite a difficult time, and we were all very worried about our infant free school meals. But we seem to have come out of that for the moment. So what do you think? Do you think there's still some concerns out there? What should we be worried about?
Henry and John introduced me to a brilliant word, and that word is jeopardy. And I think we do have some jeopardy. And forgive me, I'm going to get a piece of paper, Pat, and I'm going to show everyone at LASA, and forgive me everybody, because you have seen this slide before, but excellence does not come about through government decree. Now, last year, as we know, there were some heebie-jeebie moments around whether universal infant free school meals as a policy was on the agenda or off the agenda. We know that there are challenges about whether Ofsted are going to deliver what they say on paper they are going to deliver. We know that despite having rules and regulations in place, that does not deliver excellence like we have here at Hartley Primary School. And on the horizon, we have some challenges. You know, when I have gone and spoken to schools and caterers and many members of LASA, we have concerns about procurement. On the one hand, we have food standards and government's plan for public procurement, which sets out a great balanced scorecard using government buying standards and helping to improve public sector catering and public sector food. But yet, on the other hand, we've got recent guidance from the Crown Commercial Services talking about the need to cut £1 billion of procurement and facilities management out of our schools. Now, how do you marry the two of those up together? Second, jeopardy. There are still thousands of schools without kitchens, without production kitchens. Now, the state and the quality of transported meals or cooked chilled or cooked frozen or regeneration is getting better all the time. And that's down to efficiencies, down to professionalism, the delivery of the workforce standards, and so on. But haven't we got a national duty to put kitchens back in schools?
Definitely.
This kitchen is new. Probably cost a penny or two, but that was because government provided nearly £200 million worth of capital funding. But if we got maybe 2,000 to 3,000 school kitchens to put back in our schools, where's that money going to come from? So I think there's a jeopardy about where we get the funding. And the final jeopardy, and this is the challenge I leave for LASA as the professional body, the lead association for catering, is the data, the evidence, the measurement, the evaluation. This is my second card. What gets measured gets done. Now, last year, when there were some concerns about universal infant free school meals, the sector needs to come back with data, with evidence. How many meals are being served nationally a day? Is it getting better? We hear so, but I don't think as a sector we know so. The school food plan laid out that government would take the responsibility of putting into place measurement and evaluation activities. They haven't. But that doesn't mean to say that the sector can't do that work. And I hope and believe that LASA have a great opportunity looking at all of its membership. And let's not forget, LASA has a representation of all the different types of catering services. Thanks to Lot 1 and the Universal Infant Free School Meals Delivery Service, I think hundreds of individual schools are now LASA members. We have traditional local authority in-house catering services. We have contracted out services. We have a fragmented system. But unless we have the data, unless we know how many British carrots are being grown, processed, chopped and eaten by our kids each and every day because of the school food plan and because of universal infant free school meals and because of the rise in take-up. Without that data, the policy is fragile.
I couldn't agree with you more. But what should our industry be doing about government, and how should we be dealing with them? You probably got a lot of experience of that now.
So, from what I've seen in my career working, with many campaigners, brilliant campaigners like you, yeah, sometimes we need to fight, don't we? In order, you need to do that. But actually, we know that progress happens when, I'm going to use this phrase, winning together. And it's about how you bring the vision, the shared vision that we have. All of us want our children to be fit, happy and healthy. We know that a good school food culture is the answer. Government know that too. But government's views have changed from the coalition in terms of what they want to do. But that doesn't preclude the opportunity for the brand, for the activity of the school food plan as it continues post the end of March when the school food plan office shuts, and the establishment of the leadership board ongoing, that the discourse and dialogue with government is about winning together. It's about saying, what can we do practically together? Behind closed doors, by all means, have a fight. Let's not challenge. We've got to challenge, but let's do that in a positive and a consensual way, because that's what the school food plan to me actually is at its core. And that's why I've been so proud to be able to work for you and everyone else. Yeah, it's because of the positivity and the consensus that we've been able to bear.
And last question then, Myles. What role should LASA be playing in the future?
So I think LASA is in a brilliant position, as the lead association in catering excellence, to take forward the great work that LASA has led on with the workforce professional standards. I think it's in a great position to be able to celebrate the diversity of how school food is delivered, and recognising that actually we are in a fragmented world because the way policy and regulation, everything is working, localism, devolution, call it what you want, rise of the academies. But I think LASA have a great opportunity to respond to that. Now, that means setting out a really clear plan of what LASA wants to achieve and how it wants to support a thriving, vibrant school catering workforce. And I think there's perhaps an opportunity for LASA also to look at how it's governed and how it's managed. It's a professional body. In today's world with today's challenges, what does that mean in terms of how the organisation is run and managed? And that's for LASA and the board and all of its members to have that active conversation. But some of the changes, brilliant changes that have happened in LASA over the last few years, many more individual schools coming on board, the diversity of the makeup of the board and things like that. I think LASA have seized the moment. Yeah, take this opportunity, grasp the amazing journey that we've all been on together, recognise the positivity and consensus that comes with open collaboration and sharing and understanding, because we need LASA, in the future. It's a great organisation. You said it's got a great history. So let's look forward with positivity, consensus, and build on the amazing work that all of you have already achieved.
Well, Myles, thank you for answering all those questions. And before we finish off, I really want to say a huge thank you to you. You have made such a large contribution to the school catering industry and to all of us. And really the plan was there, and it was a piece of paper, but it was a good piece of paper. But you've brought it alive, and you've worked with us all, and you've been so patient. And your knowledge of our industry now, well, it's absolutely amazing. And we are going to miss you so very much. And we wish you the very best for the future and hope you'll keep in touch and that our paths will cross again.
Pat, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. As I said a bit earlier, this has been the most rewarding job I've ever done. And that is because I've been able to work for so many amazing people and organisations, all focused about the vision that we all share and hold so dearly. And it's been great working with the diversity of different organisations. Not always necessarily agreeing all at once, but I hope that in some way, the School Food Plan Office and Sarah and Gemma and Paul, who's come and worked so brilliantly on the new teacher training resources, the work that we've been able to do just as a small office in some way has just supported the ongoing determination and delivery that all of you and all the organisations have played. So I hope I'm not going far, and I hope to be able to continue to work with you, Pat, and others as we move forward.
Thank you, Myles.
Thank you.